talked about this evening as it was coming together right after Rabbi Gedaliah. I was reminded the date would fall just before Shavuos. And I remember the halacha, and we discussed it, and Rabbi David, I understand, ruled that it's okay to have the hesped. I'll just read you a little bit of a tshuva. Tshuva was asked in the Shuvas Yaakov, of Yaakov Reisher. The date of the tshuva is 1711. Someone apparently had done what we're doing now, and had a hesped and a memorial evening in Askara within 30 days of a regal. So he starts off with the tshuva. He says very simply, he says, I know, he says, there's a Mishnah in Moed Katan. The Mishnah in Moed Katan reads that Lo Ye'or Odam al Meisov Lo Yaspidenu Kodem L'Regel Shloshim Yom. One should not have a hesped within 30 days of a regal. Amoraim differ as to what the reason is. Some say, Rav says it's because Maspidim used to charge, and they were itinerant Maspidim, apparently. If they were coming through the town, you had all your money saved up for the regal, and you just lost a relative, you wanted to pay a Maspid to do a proper job, you take all the money that you had put away for the regal and spend it on the Maspid, so you wouldn't have Simchas Regal. Shmuel says no. Shmuel says the reason is because if you get so upset, so close to a regal, you'll carry those feelings into the regal, and you'll disturb your own Simchas Regal, as he puts it. L'fi she'ein hamet mishtakech ben halev v'yati l'misped b'regel. You'll bring it to the yot. But then he writes the following line, and it's this line upon which, but he permitted it. Actually, they didn't ask him l'chachila. I think they asked him after they had asked him already. So that's the way the tshuva reads. But if it's not your relative, but you are honoring this person because of his Torah, because the honor that he is due, because of the Torah knowledge that he has done, and one doesn't become so upset. Don't have to be concerned. Because if it's not your relative, there's a certain distance. There's a distance. We're not as concerned that you're going to share your relative. But then he says, "Va'od yesh lomar, the kavod Torah, the kvod Torah doche kvod haregel b'chol inyan, ki ein moed b'fnei chacham." But others say no, even if it is your relative, and even if it's going to bring a certain level of discomfort, it's going to disturb you, makes no difference. When a great chacham passes away, the moed is deferred. I thought about this, and in using the terminology of the Shmut Yaakov, I think from the point of view of the average Balabay with which I speak, maybe I was a little bit different than some, because I spoke for an institution, and I often ask questions, not only on my own part, we discuss communal matters, but I don't think we could say that we're excluded because of the first heter of the Shmut Yaakov. We can't say he wasn't Meito, he wasn't our relative. Because Anemer really was a part of the family. He was a part of almost every family that belongs to Shul. He was a part of our simchas. He read the Ketubah at our weddings. Who else was going to read the Ketubah about whether we sang a Kedusha or not? Anemer was going to read the Ketubah. That was a given. And he took part in our simchas in an active way in which he identified with the families. Yes, he was a member of the family. So therefore, as was said, we don't have a right to make a hesped tonight because he wasn't our relative. I can tell the family he was part of the family. But as been said already this evening, Kvod HaTorah demands it. We moved into Silver Spring in 1983, and we davened at University Boulevard. I wanted to daven there because it was a smaller shul. Means less parents could come to bother. But I also wanted to daven there because Rabbi Anemer was there more frequently. got a chance to talk to him, especially in the summer, talking, learning, doing different things. He's a wonderful, wonderful person just to talk to. Tremendously intelligent person, over and above everything else. He was more approachable there. I guess there were less balabatim who could come over to him as well. And the other thing I noticed, and I have to say it's a very strong memory in my mind, the big shul, or the new shul, which used to be called the bridge, was mostly young couples. It was not multi-generational, as it was later on, as people grew older. The branch had a very nice selection of older men and women, older families. And I wanted my kids to see older people in shul, just like I had when I was a kid. I wanted them to have contact. I wanted them to see many generations of people in the shul. As the 80s progressed, more and more families kept moving to the community. And I got the impression, at least, that the shul and the schools were growing at a very, very quick pace. I remember distinctly Rabbi calling me over one Shabbos afternoon after Mincha, through Mincha Mar, before the Torah would start, and he'd say, Altshul, who's that one? Do you know this one? Is he in the school? I mean, between the two schools, we could cover just about everybody. And often I would shrug my shoulders. We would both shrug our shoulders. The community was growing so fast, we couldn't keep track of people. At the same time, this already has been alluded to, but when people don't understand it, we were talking one morning after davening, and he got a phone call, and a shiloh the answer, and he just shook his head and said to me, he says, you know, when I first came here, if I had one shiloh a week, 2 shilohs a week, it was a lot. And mostly in areas which were the normal areas that a rav would have to deal with. This is today, and this was the late 80s, and I know it increased as years went on, as his reputation grew. He said, the shilohs don't stop. And as he told me, Arba Chelkei Shulchan Aruch. And then I thought to myself, what an unbelievable opportunity this was. Rabbi Anemer came to a small community where, when he looked around the shul, probably in the early days, it wasn't to find out who people were, it was to count whether there was a million, so you could know. Make sure there were 10 men. And he came to a community where, while there's no question his Torah was appreciated and understood by the small group of people that could appreciate it, the wider community, no idea. And over the decades, the community grew with the opportunities that Orthodox Jews had both in the government and in the other employment around Washington, when people kept moving and moving, and people wanted to live a halachic lifestyle and knew that here they had a first-rate posek to rely upon and to build a community. It was a wonderful, wonderful hashgacha that, I guess, gave Rabbi Gedaliah Anemer the impetus to pick up the phone and to call you up. Because it provided for a community, of course, the standards and the backbone that Rabbi Anemer brought, but also his tremendous knowledge. When we returned in 2001, I found an older Rabbi Anemer. He found an older Rabbi Altshul too, gracious and pleasant and supportive in our efforts to bring Torah and mitzvahs to the community. And I simply am speaking this evening to have the opportunity to say on the part of the community that I represented for 13 years, as well as our own family, how much we owe a tremendous hakaras haTorah. Because I know this not just for our family, but for so many others. It was an integral component that enabled the community to grow and to become what it was.